idea that nothing is being done, that no one is being held accountable, that this was just let to run rampant is completely false.
Well, some people have been held accountable, but I think in the opinion of most Republicans, not nearly enough. And truthfully, until somebody in a position of power, until somebody in a position in Minnesota, elected position, who was in charge of administering this or having some oversight over it goes to jail, it's honestly never going to stop. Look what's going on in blue states across the country. $9 billion in Minnesota, $70 billion in fraud in California, cooking the crime stats in Washington, D.C. When is someone in a position of power going to go to jail for the rampant
hold on
fraud?
A second.
You can put all the low-level people in jail you want, but until
Trump,
somebody in charge goes to jail, it won't.
All right, so boom. We really got to talk about how the mainstream liberal media is out here in full-on panic mode, crying, complaining, doing the whole why do we got to talk about this routine, all because they are being forced to cover this massive Somali fraud situation in Minnesota. And I'm telling you, it's wild how deep this thing goes. Like, the only reason this even came up in the first place is because of one of the legendary content creators, or creator, I should say, Nick Shirley. Shout out to him for exposing the truth, and go subscribe to his channel to subscribe to the truth, because he took the courage and the guts to do the very thing that these mainstream media outlets should be doing, right? Especially CNN being known for its slogan for true journalism, and many of these other liberal lunatic mainstream media outlets. We talking about formerly known as MSNBC, now known as MS Now. We're talking about CNN. We're talking about ABC, you name it, right? The only network that has been all over this thing, and I did check out, was Fox. Fox, you go on their YouTube channel, you see 10 watts, 10 watts, 10 watts, 10 watts. You barely see these liberals talking about it. And it also makes me feel like watching this clip from Abby Phillips, who was just going back and forth in this clip that we just saw with Scott Jennings, it makes me wonder, how can you even justify in anyone's sane mind who wakes up and work their ass off every single day and get up and make an honest living, an honest, earnest living, to do all the right things and live an honest life by the more work you put in, you get back in return. The hustle don't cheat you, right? The hustle you only get out of the hustle what you put in. But you mean to tell me individuals, Somalians, come over to America and they say, oh, we're richer than you, we're better than you, right? All in the name of fraud. Well, I don't think it takes that much to do fraud, right? Especially in the name of fake childcare, to get a government check as a lifeline to basically funnel the money to do what you want to do and live a lavish, luxurious lifestyle, buying these Cadillacs and Mercedes and things like that. I don't think it takes that much work in regards of fraud, because the scheme, or the Ponzi scheme, is paying for itself for you to even get rich off in the first place. That's not honest. That's not earnest. And the integrity you have of a cheapskate, not even cheapskate, I'm going to say cheatskate. Cheatskate. I'm going to make up a new word, cheatskate. You're cheating the hustle because you're doing the very things such as fraud to make it as though you're better than Americans. But if you're so great, and this is no shade to the Somalian community, but to the community that feels as though they're better in defending this crap of fraud, like Abby Phillips. She's not Somalian, but you get where I'm going, the pro-Democrat and the Somalians, because I'm going to do a video next. I seen the Somalian on TikTok saying, oh, Americans are just jealous because we're better than them and we outshine them and we have humor and we're just amazing individuals and we come over to America and do better than them. Like I said, fraud doesn't take real work, right? So it seems like to me, y'all asses is scared of hard work. That's the truth. So It blows my mind because someone like Abby Phillips, who worked for CNN and they're a mainstream media outlet, they get checks, right? If they get paid and being one of the anchors or being part of the team to host these panels or being part of the panel. In this case, Abby Phillips hosts the panel with Scott Jennings and so many other pro-Democrat, left-leaning, radical left lunatics. You would think they'll look in their check and say, hey, federal taxes, oh my goodness, where is this money going? But they don't bother to ask that. But she rather sit up here and defend this nonsense. And shout out to Nick Shirley. Man, look, man, he is legendary for exposing the truth and doing the honorable thing that these mainstream media outlets don't have the courage to do, and darn near don't even have the courage to even speak on it. That's how you know how biased they are when it comes to CNN, CNBC, formerly known as CNBC, now known as MS Now, ABC. So shout out to Fox for being truthful, to bringing true journalism, which is the truth, no matter what the party is, to the American people, right? And I believe there should be some consequences for media outlets being this biased. If they don't uphold the standard of true journalism, knock them down. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Seriously, it pisses me off, man. Average, everyday, working class American people making ends meet, paycheck to paycheck, and you come over here and you be a fraudster and call that hard work? Come on, man. You ain't sweat one bit to do that fraud. So Nick Shirley, just to add the context, getting back to what I was saying, basically went viral just walking up to these so-called daycares and healthcare spots in Minneapolis that done took millions, well, billions, sorry, correction, billions or even more, because this is just the ice of the, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and taxpayer money. And when he pulled up, ain't nothing there. Ain't no kids inside. Ain't no services going on. Half these places look abandoned. Like the building might have been open once a week, maybe if that. Some of these places look like they barely even operate, right? Like, bruh. And when he pulled up to him, the windows was all blacked out. What is this? Frat house? A Somalian fraud frat house going on here? Like, bro, how you even get millions of dollars in government money, but your building don't even got lights on? Make it make sense here. Now, listen, let's break this all the way down for the folks who don't follow politics, because I get it. Most people don't sit around watching CNN or C-SPAN all day. But this is about your money. It's about the taxes that come out of your check every week. You ever looking at that paycheck and you seen that chunk of tax? You seen that chunk taken out for federal income tax, right? Because I know most individuals my age, I'm 26 years old, right? So most youngsters, like myself, we don't really pay attention to that crap. We just want the money. Until you have a kid like myself and you realize, whoa, no matter if you like politics or not, or you don't want to be tuned into politics, it still shape our lives. And if you know what's going on and you be aware of it, not become of the world, but be aware of what's going on of the world. If you get what I'm saying, you could be aware of going on. You could be aware of what's going on in the world of the world. So you have the right discernment to make the right decisions. But you got to have discernment because you'll know right from wrong because you'll be aware of the world. But don't become of the world because then you'll be just like the rest, where you could potentially 9 times out of 10 have yourself be sucked in to a fraud ring like these Somalians, because now you become of the world where you don't even have integrity, right? You don't even have a moral compass of strong character because you can be sold, right? If you stand for something, you won't fall for anything. But look, if you fall for anything, you don't stand for anything, right? Or as simple as this. Let me make it this simple. You stand for something or you fall for nothing, right? So I'm saying all that to say, for the paycheck example, well, apparently some of this is getting funneled into fake daycare and healthcare centers that ain't doing nothing for nobody. They're just collecting checks, running it up, Nobody was saying a word, not the news, not the city, not the state, nothing, silent until now when Nick Shirley pulled up. And now where it gets crazier is, right, because the daycare center Nick went to is called Learing Daycare Center, not Learning Daycare Center. I'm going to announce it again. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Learing Daycare Center, okay? Reports all over the place. Some folks say it's open. Some say it's closed. Nobody really knows. It's like Casper the Ghost Daycare. One day it's open, next day it's shut down. But guess what? They still out here claiming to be open. Probably so they could keep collecting those government checks, because obviously they see the government as a lifeline, right? A way onto life, to just float into life with the cushion of the government checks constantly coming in on the backs of American taxpayers committing fraud. And when Nick Shirley rolled up and exposed all that, the people were running. They didn't say, hey, let us explain. They didn't say, nah, you got it wrong. They lashed out at him, mad that someone pulled up with a camera. And that's how you know they hiding something. And here's the part that really exposes the game, right? The mainstream liberal media. But before I get to that part about the mainstream liberal media, I want you to show the clip of the man who is supposedly running this Learing Daycare Center. And it's mind-boggling to me, because I'm not trying to be smart, but it pisses me off, because for the honest working individuals that work they behind every single day, you mean to tell me this cross-eyed, buckeye fraudster is sitting here standing 10 toes down on his ignorance? But don't take my word for it. Check it out.
What would you say to Nick Shirley, the YouTuber, if he was standing in front of you right now?
I have nothing against him himself, but I do have something against the rhetoric. It's, if you're going to be a journalist, just have a moral compass. Like, do what you do correctly. If you catch business that are fraud, no one here is with that, or like, we don't support that as a community. I don't support that myself. I was born and raised here. I'm not for fraud. Like, the notion that, hey, a certain batch of Somalis got caught, so all of them support it, it's like, no one, if in any community, any mishaps that happen, the rest of the community obviously doesn't want that to happen. It's a stain on all of our names, as you guys can see. We don't want that to happen. We don't take part in that. We don't like that. We don't want that in our communities. But just to say, hey, a certain company got caught, so they must all do it, and I feel like that's what he's doing, I'm not a fan of it.
2 to 10 p.m. may not be your typical daycare hours, so can you explain why it is that you operate during these hours?
The reason for that is we're after school hours. So most of our clients, not most of our clients, all of our clients is after school hours. So school's earliest dismissal would be 2:15 to 2:30ish, and the latest dismissal would be up to like 4:30ish, 4:40ish. So that's when our kids come to us. We don't have anyone in the morning. We deal with only parents and clients that come to us after school. So that's why ours are 2 to 10 p.m. If we try to do, once again, I'd like to conclude, the YouTuber that was making the claims, you were here earlier today. I came here at 1 o'clock. You were here. Where are you now? You claim we're closed. You claim we're a fraud. Where are you? Why are you not here right now? It's like, you're trying to put out a certain message about a certain group. I'm not going to make that claim. I don't want to make that claim without me knowing him personally, but that's what it seems like he's doing from his front. Where are you right now? He was here earlier. He was recording us. We had no issue with it. We told him, hey, just get off our property. You can record. No, he's not here. He came outside of those hours and then claimed, hey, they're closed and they're still making money. They're using taxpayer money to work. And it's like, you don't come outside of operational hours and then say they're using taxpayer money. That was completely false. As you can see, we're open Mondays through Thursdays, 2 to 10 p.m. He was here earlier. I don't see him right now. So it's like, are you trying to record that we're doing fraud, or are you trying to put the Somali name and the fraud in the same sentence? That's what really hurt us the last couple of days. We're open. We've been open. We haven't closed. We've been open for eight and a half years now. We haven't closed once during that period. So I want to touch on that first. The second thing is, which is kind of laughable, is the sign. We messed up the sign. We paid somebody to do our sign. He incorrectly did it. We're having him work on it. We paid him to correct the sign. He said it'll be done by this week. So by the end of this week, our sign will be fine. The third thing, which is the fraud claim. There's no fraud going on whatsoever. Kids come to us clients come to us, their parents come to us, they're here daily, they leave on time, they come on time. There's no fraud going on whatsoever. Where those claims came from, I mean, if a group of people does fraud, you don't paint the brush with everyone in that group. You don't say, hey, there's a group of people that are Somali that are doing fraud. Say, hey, every single Somali must be part of fraud. No, we're business owners. Being a business owner is extremely tough. Trying to raise kids that are not yours, that are others, is extremely tough as well. But then for people to come and go like, hey, they're not really working, they're just taking free money. If any of us have children here, raising children is not easy. Trying to help them with schoolwork, trying to build their manners is not easy work. So when somebody comes and does that, it's really disheartening in the community itself. As Minnesota, as Somalis, as people that own this business for 8 years now, we do nothing but to uplift the community, uplift our children, uplift one another, uplift uplift Somalis to make a better community for all of us. So when somebody comes in and says, hey, they're not doing it, it's just like if he would have came during operational hours and there's no one here, okay, you've got a point. He came, I think it was 11 a.m. Obviously, there's no cars in the parking lot. If you look around, there's cars now. Yeah, because our employees are here, our children are here, our clients are here. But don't come at 10 a.m. and like, hey, their door's not open. Obviously, our door's not going to be open at 10 a.m. We're not open at 10 a.m.
All right, family. So there you have it. But I feel as though what justifies them to be getting like $1 million, right? Do you really have as many kids as you say? And of course, you're going to fix the sign now. You're being exposed. You know, our eyes are on you. You're going to be politically correct. You're going to cover up all the mishaps, all the loopholes. So of course, now you're going to get the sign fixed. You get $1 million and you can't get the right sign in the first place in the right way in front of the beginning. But like I say, man, it will all play out. And at the end of the day, him standing 10 toes down out of ignorance, I feel as though I understand y'all after school hours, but I'm known for daycare centers, daycare, right? To be during the day, you know, for working individuals. I get they may have after school for kids who may need to be watched after school, even in the daycare. But I'm highly known for daycares to be open more in the daytime hours. And then parents who need to work, they'll have a daycare, overnight daycares. They have things like that, 24-hour daycares. But 2 to 10, and that justifies them getting $1 million. I don't know, man. Let me know what you guys think about that, family. Because and the part that really exposes, like I was saying, the mainstream liberal media, and I'm talking CNN, MSNBC, like I said, is what's called now is MSN now, or MS now. Because, look, they've been ignoring this whole thing that I've been saying, right, throughout this video. Straight up acting like it ain't happening. They talk about Trump 24/7. Every single day they got some new Trump angle. But when it comes to the largest fraud scandal involving taxpayer money that we ever seen in a small city like Minneapolis, crickets, right? And when they finally do cover it, they mad. They got to talk about it. But you're a proud business owner. And if he would have came during normal business hours, then he would have seen. But don't try to make it us like it's fraud. Well, obviously somebody was there still because y'all told them to get off the property. Right? Why not give them a tour that the kids isn't there if you don't want to put kids in jeopardy or other people kids in jeopardy that you're giving a service to? But you could give them a tour and show them in if you have nothing to hide. Why can we still not see in this daycare? Right? I'm just curious, right? So and when the mainstream liberal media finally do cover it, they mad they got to talk about it. They sitting on TV with this attitude like, why are we even being forced to discuss this? Like, we bothering them by exposing fraud. Oh my goodness. But I want you guys to see it. Don't take my word for it. Check it out.
There's a lot we don't know here just yet, but it gives off at least a sense, and we'll see where the facts take us. but at least we can safely say this. It seems like Republicans are eager to be talking about something else than a lot of the bad news surrounding the president right now.
Right. Well, sure. So these were funds that were meant to go to help feed hungry people during the COVID pandemic, to help keep people in their homes who were at risk of homelessness. So first of all, if there is fraud there, that should be fully investigated, no matter where it is, whether it's in a Democratic-led state, a Republican-led state. I mean, let's pull back. So absolutely, it should be investigated. The question is, you know, why is this a priority in a different kind of way? The politicization of the DOJ and the FBI is undeniable. So whether they are reliable narrators is the big question. And this is what happens when you weaponize and politicize federal agencies that are not meant to be, politicized. And I think the American people are right to ask the question, well, can we trust you? And that's a sad thing to say as an American.
This is politics. But, honestly, you knock on the door of a daycare center and you're like, let me in, let me in. What do you expect people to do? In some of those cases, there were children in there. What do you want people to do in that situation? Open the door and say, come on in, when they know that the Somali community is under attack, is being threatened every single day? What is going on here?
Look, if there's...
I don't care. This is why I don't like Abby Phillips, man. Because the simple fact is, okay, you want to take in as much customers as possible to justify the amount that you're getting from American taxpayers, right? You are a public business that is getting taxpayer money. Don't you think you should serve the community and American taxpayers? Or a taxpayer citizen regardless? Accommodate their time. Don't push them away. Oh, wait, I forgot. It's easy to push away when you get billions and billions of dollars of fraud money. Oh, we don't need your services. When Nick Shirley went to the daycare, he played along. He doesn't actually have a kid, but he went along with it hypothetically just to see how would they embrace to give service as such of a daycare facility. And the thing is, if you're taking taxpayer dollars, you should be open. Okay? Ain't no, oh, you should be ashamed, American people, to ask, oh, can I trust you? Well, if the math ain't mathing and it's American taxpayer dollars, oh, you're damn right, can I trust you? Because you don't need the money and it's not justifying. This is common sense here, right? And they know it. They just can't pull back, or they can't take back what they're saying. So they just rather just stand 10 toes down. But this is why CNN, MS Now, they will always be horrible, right? Their ratings is horrible. This is why people aren't looking at the mainstream media any longer. The new news outlets will be content creators. And that's a fact. Right? But get into what I'm saying. You accommodate their time. So Abby Phillips, oh, but they just want to knock on the door and come in. Well, there's kids in there. What do you want them to do? Hey, well, I understand you want to see. And look, is it okay if you come at a more reasonable time, at lunchtime, when the kids have lunch, or the kids have nap time, or the kids are on their break, or when, we can do a tour within you when the kids leave? How about that? You accommodate. You're getting taxpayer dollars. You are supposed to give the up to par service, and you're supposed to go the extra mile as, you ever heard of customer service? What do you think a restaurant worker do? A bartender do? They go above and beyond, man. Break their backs to get those tips. Right? And it's a shame because these blue states, and I did a video on that, go check it out, family. They are the big, beautiful bill making it where there's no tax on tips, while these blue states say, hey, we're still going to tax tips within our state taxes because we need that money. And all they have to do is get rid of the fraud, waste, and abuse, but they rather not, but keep taking the average working class American and the working class American taxpayer citizen money to keep funneling these go green dumb projects and things like that, to continue to get kickbacks through these projects that are meant to fail, but making it like there is a solution. And then when election time come around again, they do the right thing to get reelected, just to start that bull crap up again and start the Ponzi scheme cycle up to get kickbacks again once they get reelected. We have to get off the Democratic plantation. Get off the Democratic plantation, family. And if you got this far in the video, get this video a big thumbs up. Like the video, like the video, like the video, subscribe and join the family because the truth is here and I'm going to keep talking about it. Let's go.
Fraud there or anywhere else as it relates to Medicaid, it should be rooted out, and whoever has perpetrated it should be prosecuted, no question. But, you know, in the homeless shelters I run, we have daycare centers. If someone just showed up at the door banging to say, I want to, you know, bring a child there, we would not let them in. We don't let people who are unauthorized come in to daycare centers. But a big part of this that we also have to note is there was no need for the president to say the horrible things he said about the Somali community.
Oh my goodness, the president, how could you say that? Listen, honey, the numbers ain't mathing. You worrying about what the president's saying. You need to be worrying about why the president have to say it to bring attention to this that's under Governor Tim Walz's watch. Or I should say, Timmy Tampon watch, right? So, and you guys, like I said, you already know the playbook. When stuff like this happens, they start deflecting. But Trump, though, like, bruh, you just finished talking about Trump this morning, yesterday, last week, yesteryear, last month, all the way up until he got reelected. Thank God, because thank God we dodged that bullet with Tampon 10. But the man lives in y'all head rent free. But now that some folks are out here stealing government money and running fake daycares, you don't want to talk about that. All of a sudden, we're supposed to move along. Just move along. Just move along. We don't want to hear that. Let me tell you in real terms. Imagine if your neighbor lied on their taxes, faking having 12 kids in a daycare and collecting $100,000 from the government. Then the media come out and say, well, we don't really want to focus on that. Let's talk about Trump. You'll be like, nah, hold on, sis. Hold on, bruh. That's my money they playing with. You heard me? Just like it should be, right? Now, this tells you how there has been no real oversight until now. Shout out to Doge. And they need to bring back the Department of Government Efficiency. I don't know if it went away. I don't know what. To me, I think Trump being too soft. I think they giving them too much leeway to get it together. Because Nick Shirley, he doing what the state should have done of Minneapolis, right? Because in my home state, they go check daycares. You got yearly inspections, and the state don't tell you when you popping up the daycare. My child been to daycare. You know what I'm saying? So they ain't doing their job. And that's another tax-paying, citizen-funded agency, right? When it comes to kids, right? When it comes to child protective services and state inspections and things like that, right? I worked at Wendy's as my first job. Health inspections, right? So now what I'm getting to is now this whole thing gets labeled as Somali fraud because it's mostly Somali-run daycares and healthcare centers being investigated. Now, watch how the media flips it as soon as people start talking about accountability, I should say. And here come the usual buzzwords. It's racist. It's political. It's targeting minorities. No, it's called fraud. Ain't nobody saying every Somali person is guilty, but folks is running a scam. It don't matter if you Somali, black, white, Asian, green, purple. It don't matter. Okay, family? So check this out.
That billionaires spend more in sales tax, right?
Why can my generation not afford to own a home? And that's in part because all of property ownership. No, it's not their job. It's about It's about returning.
Is it the government's job to buy for you?
No, it's not the government's job to buy people homes.
Then why does the government need their money?
Okay, because do you agree that the government's job is to redistribute wealth, and they but they already do that. They just make choices. But they make choices via taxes. But what do taxes do? No, Scott. What do taxes do? They redistribute wealth, right?
No, not redistribute it to individuals. It's supposed to be used.
The government
for the
makes choices, so you can make choices in a different way.
That is
make choices in a different way. And I just want, I'm sorry, just quickly.
My criticism
is trying to do would be to basically to tax people who are extraordinarily wealthy. These are not. It is not a millionaire tax. These are people. We're talking billions of dollars. Okay. That is more money than most people can even fathom.
Worth debating.
So I'm not arguing for it. I'm just saying it's not a millionaire tax. It's a billionaire tax. And the idea would be, I guess, to use that revenue in order to offer improvements for the average Californian.
And I showed that video, family, because it shows that they're obviously, Abby Phillips and the woman in the green, I don't know her name, pro-Democrats, obviously condoning the government controlling your money and redistributing wealth. Well, this is why I say you have to get off the Democratic plantation, because the Democrats want to control and censor you, and they basically want to control how much you can receive. And what I'm saying is Republicans, they always make it like, oh, Republicans, they want to tax you to death. No, the Democrats want to tax you to death. That's why they put it in the name of taxing the rich. Because they don't want you to get ahead. They don't want you to live a dream. They don't want you to have possibility of resources. They want you to beg them for resources while they take your money and commit a fraud scheme like this with these Somalians. Now, the Republicans, on the other hand, they want you to have as many opportunities as possible and tax you less so you actually can pave your own way and you actually reap what you sow based on how much work you put in and how hard you work, because that's the beauty of America. The harder you work, the more resources you have, you're able to pave your way, and at the end of the day, you create the bed that you lay in. And the more resources you have, there's no excuse. We need to get rid of welfare programs, go to your local communities and churches and help out that way. But all in the name of nonprofits when it comes to these Democrats. It's just a way to funnel money. It's a Ponzi scheme. Now, for the common good, okay. When it comes to not taxing, when it comes to Republicans and not taxing the American person to death, but actually put more money in their pocket, you are known by the fruits of your labor. You don't work, you don't eat. And you have unlimited opportunities to live the American dream with your money, and you are able to reinvest it in yourself and your family, while the Democrats want to take that away and keep having you crawl back and beg for, oh, please help me. I need welfare. I need solutions. In the name of redistributing wealth. Ignorance, man. But I want you guys to check out this last clip in regards of this whole Somalian fraud and Scott Jennings cooking. And this is why CNN with Abby Phillips will never be great. And if Scott Jennings, in the name of Scott Jennings, this is the only reason why I even look at these clips.
Quick last word, and then we gotta go.
You got to admit, though, the catering to the Somali community that goes on by the Democrats in Minnesota is a little weird, is it not? It's
I will tell you, I was in Minnesota 2 weeks ago.
Of the population, they got the lieutenant governor up there dressed like the Handmaid's Tale. What? I mean, why do they cater?
That's out of line.
Why do they cater? Why do they cater to them?
Hold on a second.
It's such a small portion of the population. And the Democrats put them at the center of
Scott, I do think that. Just a second. Because I don't think it would be acceptable for you to make a statement like that about Orthodox Jews in Brooklyn.
Right.
Why on earth is it acceptable to make a statement like that about people?
It's a white liberal woman dressing in
I'm just saying you're
saying Republicans are singling out
denigrating
the
the religious
put them at the
practices of a group for no reason other than the reason. I don't care about her. Right. I'm talking.
She's the one who did it.
You're describing the type of dress as the Handmaid's Tale, and you're doing that to denigrate the religion of a group of people.
That's just pointing out.
It wouldn't be acceptable if you did it with another group. So don't do it when it comes to Muslim people.
It's Democrats.
That's not okay.
It's Democrats who have put Somali diaspora in Minneapolis at the center of their party and their state's politics. It's a small portion of the population. There is a bunch of fraud that goes on, and even Tim Walz has claimed that any investigation of this fraud is akin to white supremacy,
no,
which is a
hasn't.
ridiculous
He has not claimed that. He has not said that.
He has said that.
He has not said that. First of all, Tim Walz has encouraged investigations into this, but some of the groups that were responsible for the fraud made allegations against the Biden DOJ that they were being targeted for racial reasons, and that was false then, and it's false now. So, but I don't think there's any evidence that Tim Walz was a part of that kind of allegation.
I think they look the other way.
So.
And that right there, family. So let me ask this question. Is CNN getting a cut? As we know that these mainstream liberal media outlets like CNN, obviously they're biased. So we know they're getting paid by the Democrats, because to push this nonsense, it's like Abby Phillips, right? Abby Phillips, the moderator with the leather jacket on with the hoop earrings. Is she getting a kickback? I'm just saying, because the way she going out her way to defend these people, and it's like she got stock in the operation. And when Scott Jennings, one of the very few people on that network with a spine, said something about it and used a Handmaid's Tale reference, she lost it. Like, oh, now all of a sudden it's offensive, but it wasn't. It wasn't offensive when the left, the lunatic Democrats, radical left lunatics that spend years calling everything the next Handmaid's Tale. Every time they don't like a law, it's we're living in Gilead. But when someone uses the same comparison toward a Democrat wearing a head covering in solidarity with Somali culture, now it's bigotry. Now it's don't insult their religion. Man, the double standards are unreal. And look, I don't care who you are, where you from. If you're scamming taxpayers, that needs to be dealt with. But instead of focusing on a fraud, the media want to be a full-time apologists. And they're not journalists no more. They straight up defense attorneys for whatever agenda they pushing. And that's why shows, when it comes to individuals like Abby Phillips, don't go nowhere when it comes to them being on shows with this type of behavior and this type of character and this type of attitude, right? Abby Phillips is like a know-it-all that don't know nothing. Just dumb, ignorant, and thinks she knows something, but a whole lot of nothing. And if Scott Jennings wasn't there, that's the only reason why I get into these clips, because boy, he cooks. But the simple fact is the show would have been canceled a long time ago, right? It's a reason why many people watch, because Scott Jennings is the reason of common sense. That makes sense, right? So look, Abby Phillips supposed to be moderating, and instead of moderating, she wants her voice to be heard all through the conversation, right? Like she's in a Twitter argument. Nobody tuned in for that. So let me wrap this up with this, right? The fact that this scam went on so long with barely any coverage shows you just how much the media picks and chooses what they care about. They're not even hiding it no more, family. And when they finally do talk about it, it's not to hold scammers accountable, it's to protect them. If this was a bunch of white folks, because we know with Governor Tim Walz or Tampon Timmy, weak leadership, because we know that these happen with Somalis, aka constituents, under his leadership, as he is the governor of Minneapolis. Instead of taking full accountability, he deflects and blame a race. Come on, man. That is the most weakest deflection, the most weakest leadership, and should call for resignation and to be in jail and be out of position automatically. Comment down below if you with me. To blame a race? I'm so sick of these Democrats. When it comes to not taking accountability, they all go to race and some type of divisive, emotional, tug on heartstrings rhetoric to protect Somalis, right? But using what Tampon Timmy said, if there was a bunch of white folks, and she wants to blame white folks, let's go with it, running $1 billion fake daycare scam, you think they'll be making excuses to go after them? Nope. You think they'll be telling us don't generalize? No. How did the white man become the enemy? How did a race become an enemy for a race that obviously took it amongst themselves to commit fraud? But the mainstream media would be all over it if it was a white man, apparently, according to Tampon Timmy, and he's the Democratic Party that pays this CNN with these spineless individuals like Abby Phillips. But when it's a community that votes Democrats, suddenly we got to tread lightly, right? So yeah, I'm not saying CNN or MS Now, formerly known as MSNBC, are literally cashing the fraud checks, but you can't tell me, family, it don't feel like they're getting a little something on the side with how hard they defending this mess. And if they're not, then it's even worse, because that means they selling out their own credibility for free. That's sad. So I'm going to leave y'all with this. If the media don't care about fraud that hurts you, the taxpayer, that takes money out of your paycheck, then who do they really work for? Because it clearly ain't the average everyday American taxpayer. It clearly ain't the American people, or just legal migrants, or citizens that make an earnest, honest living the right way, busting they behind the legal way. No fraud. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. And I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. We not done exposing the fraud. Not by a long shot. I catch you in the next one, family. I love you guys. Peace.